Hello everyone, my name is Vishal Singh and I'll be teaching you chess today. So in the previous class, we were continuing with defending by capturing the attacker and we'll be finishing that today. We'll try to finish that off today, I'm sure. And once we're done with that, we'll move on to the next topic. So for now, let's continue with defending by capturing the attacker. Okay. So I'm pretty sure we had completed this. So I'll give you a quick recap. So you were playing as white. The enemy black queen was attacking your queen, and you could not get away. You cannot go move away, defend by moving away. Why? Because your bishop was in the same line as your queen. So if you get out of the way, the attack range of the enemy queen, that is the black queen, will extend till your bishop, and your bishop will be captured immediately. So you'll be giving away 3 points, and you cannot even protect your bishop using your queen. If it suppose the bishop was in a black box, you're at d4, you could have moved to b2 or move to e4 in order to protect your bishop. But unfortunately, our queen was in a white box. That is why we were not able to protect our bishop here at d2. So what the only option we had left was, because the queen cannot get out of the way. It can get out of the way, but we do not want to give our bishop for free. So the only option we have left is to capture the enemy queen. That is queen to d8. Got it? That was the quick recap. So we take the 9 points from our enemy, and the enemy takes 9 points from us by capturing our queen in return. So a fair trade, a better option rather than just losing points, right? We exchanged the points. So that was a good option. All right. Let's move ahead. Okay. Okay, so in this, you're playing as white again. Please do pause the video. I've told you what you're playing as. Look for the piece that is being attacked at the moment and what you can do in order to um, save yourself. Or if not save yourself, get yourself in equal terms. That means losing or gaining points. In that terms, I mean. Okay, so hopefully you did pause the video and you did come back. So you're playing as white, and the piece that is under attack would be your rook, your white rook. What is it being threatened by? The enemy rook. Why can you not capture the enemy rook? Two reasons. It is protected by the bishop and the knight at the same time. So we all know the rook moves in straight line. It can go up, down, right, and left. Well, moving, uh, if it doesn't matter if it moves up, left, or right, it is capturing something, one of the enemy pieces. So let's see if we can move away and protect ourselves. What if we move here at e6? We'll be captured by the bishop. Here at e5 by the pawn. Here at e4 by the knight. And if we choose to move down, the enemy rook, if you see carefully, is at e8, meaning the entire e8 is the attack range of the enemy rook. Entire not e8, the entire e file is the attack range of the enemy rook. Doesn't matter where we go down, we are going to get captured. So do we want to lose points? No. What can we do? We can capture the enemy pawn, but we'll be just taking 1 point away. The enemy king will then just capture us back, our rook back. So gaining 1 point in return for losing 5 points, not a good trade, right? Better option would definitely be bishop. Capturing the bishop itself. We'll be taking 3 points in return of five. In return of giving five, the knight will then capture our rook. A way better option than the pawn, but not the best option. A better option than the pawn. What would be the best option? The best option would be to capture the attacker that is attacking you at the moment. That is capturing the rook itself. So you will be taking 5 points away from your enemy, and the enemy will be taking 5 points away from you as well. Why? As soon as you capture the enemy rook, the bishop or the knight will capture your rook at the same time as well. So that would still be a fair trade and a better option, right? Because it doesn't matter where you move down the line, you're getting captured, and we do not want to do an unfair trade where we are losing more points than our enemy. So the best option would be to capture the enemy rook, that is rook to e8. And the enemy will most likely play knight to e8. Got it? Quite simple. Let's move ahead. Okay, so this is very simple. Uh, you're playing as white, by the way. Just a second. All right, let's continue. Okay, so this is very simple. You are being attacked by the enemy, and this puzzle we are doing is defending by capturing the attacker. So the very simple move would be to capture the enemy pawn. Well, you can just move ahead or capture the pawn. Anything would be fine at this moment. You can even support your pawn, but supporting it, suppose you do support the your pawn over here, and the enemy does capture your pawn, and then you capture your pawn. There's a gap here at f file between your pawns. Your defense structure is then damaged. So I would suggest a better option would be your defense is already broken. Then your pawns won't be connected to, uh, support your king or other pieces, defend your king or other pieces. So better option would be to directly capture the pawn, enemy pawn here, right here before the enemy pawn destroys your structure or your defense structure. So the answer would be pawn to d5. Quite simple. Got it? Okay, let's move ahead. This one is a little trickier. I've taught you. You're playing as black, by the way, and suppose as a white, as an opponent, I play pawn to b4. What would you do then? You're playing as black, okay, um, and the pawn is trying to attack your knight. You can easily move away, but we are doing defending by capturing the attacker. We can capture the attacker, so why not capture it for free, right? We're getting 1 point. We'll be taking away 1 point from the enemy for free. So that is a better option than moving away, because we can do that. So now I've told you you're playing as white, and what can you do in this specific situation? Pause the video, think of a solution, and come back. Okay. Hopefully you did pause the video, you did think a lot, and you came back. Let's look at the solution. Okay, so as an opponent, I played pawn to b4. What can you do? So I'm basically trying to attack your knight. You're playing as black. Don't forget that you're playing as black. Do you think this pawn can capture the enemy pawn? Do you think this knight can capture the enemy pawn at the moment? No, no, right? It will take two moves. Go to it will go to first a6 and then capture b4. Not a good option. Do you think this pawn can capture sideways? No. Do you think the bishop can? But it will again take a lot of moves for the bishop to, capture the pawn. Again, not a good option. Sorry. We don't have a bishop. I forgot it playing as black. So none of the pawns can also capture that. Even the king will take a lot of moves to get here. So what can be done? Do you guys remember en passant? I taught you en passant. What happens if the enemy? It happens if you're playing as black. It happens when your pawn is on the 4th rank. Remember, if you're playing as white, it happens when your pawn is on the 5th rank. So now, as you're playing as black and your pawn is on the 4th rank, and the enemy pawn has just sprinted 2 blocks, that is pawn to b4. So immediately, if you do en passant, you will be able to capture the enemy pawn. So your answer would be pawn to b3, and you successfully captured the enemy pawn. Got it? Very simple. Okay, so this is the reason this was tricky. I actually wanted to see if you guys do remember en passant. Okay, so the answer would, again, I'll show you. Just because I had played pawn to b4, and the next move should be en passant, because if I avoid this move at the moment, I play something else, I then cannot capture the enemy pawn. The en passant has to be immediate. As soon as the pawn has sprinted 2 blocks, my next move should be to perform the en passant. If I leave a gap between the enemy sprinting and me playing something else, So I'm no longer capable of doing the end passant. It has to be in the next move. Okay. So this is the reason why I was showing you this. All right. Let's move ahead. Okay. So you're playing as white in this one. I've told you enough. You're playing as white. Look carefully what is being attacked and then come back and let's see if our solutions do match. Okay, so you're playing as black. Your rook seems to be pretty safe. Nothing is trying to capture your rook. Your pawns seem to be pretty safe. Your pawn is under attack. You're at e3 because of the rook, but then it is supported by another pawn and a rook. Um, if your opponent is logical, he probably wouldn't, waste 5 points over a pawn and lose and just gain 1 point. So that pawn is safe. So the only piece that is not safe at the moment would be our pawn here at a7. What is it being threatened by? The bishop. What can we do? Let's see. The bishop doesn't seem to be supported by anything. The rook is not supporting the bishop. The king is way too far from the bishop to support it. So we actually can capture the bishop. It is our turn. We can capture the bishop and also get a queen at the same time. Got it? Because our pawn had reached the eighth rank. If you're playing as white and your pawn reaches the eighth rank, you choose what piece you want. You can choose what piece you want. If you're playing as black and your black pawn reaches the first rank, you can choose. You can promote your pawn to become any piece you want. So as a white, my pawn reached the eighth rank and I choose it to be promoted to a queen. Got it? Quite simple. Okay. So we have completed defending by capturing the attacker finally, and we'll be starting with a new topic in our new class. So I hope you guys learned and understood what capturing, learned what defending by capturing the attacker means, and I hope you guys enjoyed as well. So I'll see you guys in the next class. Bye bye.